Everyone has felt it, that moment when you do everything right, and still lose. When effort changes nothing. When someone with half your skill gets twice your outcome. It's not chance. It's design. The world doesn't reward fairness, it rewards awareness. 5 centuries ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli studied this imbalance, not as a philosopher, but as an insider among those who ruled. He saw why good people fail, why charm beats honesty, and why intelligence means nothing without strategy. He turned those observations into a manual for control, the kind still used by those who never seem to lose. What you're about to hear isn't motivation. It's weaponized understanding, 6 Machiavellian frameworks to see what others miss, and act before they even realize they've been moved. Law 1. Command through silence. True authority doesn't argue, it observes. The moment you start explaining yourself, you begin to leak power. Every time you overjustify, you signal doubt. Every time you rush to defend, you confirm weakness. And every time you fill the silence, you surrender control to whoever's listening. Machiavelli understood what most people never do: silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure. It makes others uncomfortable. It forces them to fill the void with assumptions, with words, with truths they didn't mean to reveal. When you stay quiet, people start projecting their own fears onto you. They imagine confidence where there is composure. They imagine knowledge where there is stillness. They begin to build entire stories about your intelligence, your confidence, your mystery, and you haven't said a single word. The most powerful people you've met don't chase validation. They don't over-explain their choices or beg to be understood. They let their actions create the proof. They choose their words the way an investor chooses assets, deliberately, sparingly, and only where the return is worth it. Every pause, every silence, becomes a form of communication in itself. Commanding silence reshapes everything about the way you interact with the world. People start revealing themselves just to break the tension. They fill the air with their insecurities, their ambitions, their weaknesses, and while they talk, you collect information. You stop sabotaging yourself with impulsive speech. No promises made in haste, no premature confessions of your plans, no warnings to rivals before you act. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. The quiet person becomes the mirror in the room. Others start to expose who they are against your stillness. Your restraint draws out their impulsiveness. Your calm exposes their need for validation. And your silence, precisely because it cannot be read, becomes impossible to ignore. Uncertainty unsettles people, it keeps them cautious, respectful, even a little afraid. This doesn't mean withdrawing or suppressing your voice. It means learning the art of deliberate communication, knowing when silence speaks louder than sound. When a question doesn't serve you, let it pass unanswered. When someone provokes you, stay collected. When they demand to know your next move, smile and change direction. Power belongs to the one who controls the rhythm of exchange, not the one who fills every space. Machiavelli once wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Sometimes, the fox wins not by clever words, but by the absence of them. Practice it consciously. In your next conversation, hold your ground in silence. Resist the impulse to explain, defend, or overshare. Let others talk until their nerves betray them. Observe what escapes when they fill the void. You'll be shocked at how much power begins with the discipline to say nothing at all. Law 2. Decode people like a strategist. The difference between amateurs and masters is attention. Amateurs stay locked inside their own perspective, consumed by their emotions, assumptions, and desires. Masters direct that same energy outward. They watch. They analyze. They collect data from silence, tone, reaction, and rhythm. Most people drift through life blind to human patterns. They believe words over behavior. They assume good intentions where there are only habits. And when they're betrayed, they call it bad luck, when it was actually blindness. Every person operates on a loop, predictable rhythms of desire, fear, and self-preservation. Once you start paying attention, you'll see the repetition everywhere. The same excuses, the same reactions, the same emotional choreography played over and over again. When you learn to read those loops, you no longer have to force outcomes. You can predict them. You can steer them. Machiavelli built his entire understanding of power on this one skill, observation. He watched kings and merchants, soldiers and servants, and saw the same motives hiding behind different masks. The need to be seen. The fear of loss. The hunger for control. Centuries later, nothing has changed. Human nature doesn't evolve, only its vocabulary does. To decode people, start where words can't hide, the body. Watch how someone stands when they speak, how they shift when they lie, how their eyes betray hesitation. Notice the micro-expressions that vanish in a blink, a twitch of the mouth, a brief tightening of the jaw, a forced laugh that doesn't reach the eyes. Observe who they look at when they laugh in a group. That single glance tells you everything about their loyalty and hierarchy. The body leaks truth long before the mouth does. Then move to language. Listen not just to what people say, but how they talk about others. Gossip and criticism always reveal projection. Someone obsessed with tearing down others is quietly telling you how they feel about themselves. Constant victims are announcing that responsibility terrifies them. Chronic braggarts are confessing insecurity. The more someone speaks, the more they reveal the limits of their control. But to truly read people, you have to go deeper, into value systems. Every human being has a primary currency. For some it's respect, for others money, admiration, or safety. Identify what drives them, and you'll understand both their weakness and their leverage. When someone's core currency is threatened, they will always act predictably. Offend their pride, and they'll defend their image. Threaten their comfort, and they'll retreat. Touch their ambition, and they'll overextend. Once you know what they protect most, you can guide the entire interaction around it. Pressure is where every mask collapses. Watch people when they're under fire. That's when polite pretenses vanish. The charming become cruel. The composed become erratic. The insecure reveal how little ground they actually stand on. And the truly strong, the ones who stay calm and deliberate, show you what real authority looks like. Crisis reveals more about character than years of conversation ever could. Patterns don't lie. People might deny, disguise, and perform, but their behavior keeps the receipts. Someone who betrayed once will betray again. Someone unreliable in small matters will collapse when stakes rise. Trust repetition, not apology. Observe consistency, not confession. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few know what you are. The observant are the exception. They see through masks, through words, through charm. They navigate people the way a chess player reads the board, not emotionally, but strategically. Start training this now. Pick one person. Spend a week studying their reactions, their tone when they're confident, their silence when they're lying, their habits when they're relaxed. Notice the contradictions between their words and their actions. Watch what disappears under pressure. Patterns will emerge faster than you expect. And once you learn to see them, people stop being unpredictable, they become transparent. Because the truth is simple, human nature isn't complicated. It's just rarely observed with enough discipline. Law 3. Guard your real agenda. Power doesn't disappear in a single blow, it leaks away the moment people understand what you really want. The instant your direction becomes visible, others start drawing their own maps. They calculate how to intercept you, how to slow you down, how to use your ambitions for their benefit. Once your plan is known, it no longer belongs to you. When you reveal a dream, watch how quickly the masks shift. The competitive begin to race you. The insecure start advising you to lower your aim. The calculating smile, nod, and quietly wonder how your goal might serve theirs. It's not malice, it's human nature. Most people think in terms of themselves, not you. And once they understand what moves you, they begin to pull your strings. That's why those who last move in quiet patterns. They speak of smaller goals, harmless ones, designed to keep attention away from their true course. They let others think they've been understood, when in reality no one has seen the core strategy. The deeper work always happens behind closed doors, invisible until it's complete. The amateur speaks too soon, asking for validation and advice, collecting doubt and criticism until momentum dies. The strategist stays silent, shaping outcomes instead of narrating intentions. They know that when action arrives, explanation becomes unnecessary. No debate. No permission. Just results. This law extends to every arena: negotiation, leadership, even friendship. Never reveal your full intent before trust is tested. Don't expose the soft parts of your nature before you know who's studying them. Every piece of information you give away becomes a potential tool in someone else's hands. Mystery protects you. Transparency without calculation feeds those waiting to dissect you. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He didn't preach deception, he taught precision. Everyone hides something, the weak do it without awareness, the strong do it with control. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. That sentence isn't about lies. It's about power, the power of selective revelation. When someone asks about your plans, give them the shape, not the substance. Speak of the direction, not the method. Leave the core untouched. Because the less they know, the less they can interfere. Silence keeps your focus intact. Secrecy turns momentum into a weapon. Law 4. Seize the frame first. Every story that happens to you is neutral until someone defines it. And whoever defines it first, owns it. That's the real game of power, not just doing, but deciding what your actions mean. Politicians understand this instinctively. The moment a crisis erupts, they speak first, not because they have all the facts, but because they know the first version becomes the reference point. Corporations do it when they rush press releases before rumors spread. Even individuals who command respect in a room instinctively claim the first word after conflict. The first interpretation always shapes the outcome. Most people never learn this. They live reactively, waiting for truth to defend them. They stay silent when attacked, hoping reason will correct perception. But silence leaves a vacuum, and people fill vacuums with whatever serves them. Rumors, guesses, exaggerations, all take root before you ever speak. Machiavellian minds do the opposite. They preempt interpretation. They don't fabricate, they frame. When they make a mistake, they don't hide, they define it. They acknowledge it first, turn it into a lesson, show progress, and move on. The same event that would destroy someone else becomes proof of growth. Rumors? They never chase them emotionally. They dismantle them calmly, on their own terms. A controlled tone turns gossip into noise. A confident posture makes accusation look desperate. Power isn't just in what you do, it's in how you present what's been done. This law rules every field. In competition, the one who reacts loses to the one who narrates. The same setback, reframed as strategy, transforms failure into foresight. The same weakness, defined early, becomes authenticity instead of shame. The difference isn't reality, it's narrative speed. Social media magnifies this principle. People shape their identities through selective visibility, showing wins, hiding wounds, curating truth. It's not dishonesty. It's design. Those who master presentation influence not only perception but behavior, because people respond not to truth, but to the version of truth they believe. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Meaning, your position means nothing until you define what it represents. The value of your name, your image, your authority, all of it depends on how you frame it. So study the story others tell about you. Does it serve you, or does it confine you? If it limits your potential, rewrite it now, through your tone, your decisions, your composure. Don't wait to be understood. Speak first. Shape the meaning. Because in the end, power doesn't belong to the one who acts, it belongs to the one who defines what the action means. Law 5. Embrace ruthless clarity. Hesitation is how opportunity dies. The longer you wait to decide, the more space you give for fear, doubt, and other people's opinions to occupy your mind. Indecision isn't neutrality, it's surrender. Every moment you delay a hard choice, the world moves forward without you. Machiavelli wrote The Prince not to comfort, but to harden. His lesson was simple: comfort and greatness never coexist. Power requires precision. Sometimes you must cut ties, end what's familiar, or make moves that seem cold, because weakness always attracts more chaos. Think of the indecisive people you know. They avoid confrontation, say yes when they mean no, and allow draining people to stay because it's easier. They hope problems fix themselves, and while they wait, their time, energy, and respect bleed away. People walk over them not because they're kind, but because they hesitate. Now think of those who lead. They're not reckless, but they move with certainty. They protect their focus, their boundaries, their time. They make decisions based on what works, not what feels comfortable. Others call them cold or intense, but intensity is just clarity in motion, and clarity wins. Calculated decisiveness isn't aggression. It's strategy. It's cutting through hesitation to preserve direction. When someone drains you, the weak rationalize, the strong remove. When a system fails, the weak complain, the strong replace. When discipline slips, the weak forgive themselves endlessly, the strong correct immediately. One life spirals into excuses, the other compounds into strength. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." That doesn't mean cruelty, it means boundaries matter more than approval. To be respected, you must be willing to displease. To protect your peace, you must be willing to act without applause. Still, true decisiveness requires balance. Remove what doesn't serve you, but don't waste energy on revenge. End things cleanly, not vindicatively. The goal is not to prove emotion, it's to preserve motion. Emotional decisions prove ego, strategic decisions preserve control. The truth is simple: comfort feeds delay, and delay kills momentum. Decide faster, act cleaner, move quieter. Every clear decision hardens your mind against hesitation, and the world bends to those who move while others think. Law 6. Build freedom through options. Power belongs to those who can walk away. Dependence, on people, money, or circumstance, is the quietest form of captivity. Those who rely on a single outcome eventually lose control of it. When the foundation cracks, everything they built collapses with it. Machiavellian minds never let that happen. They live by redundancy. Multiple skills. Multiple income streams. Multiple exits. They never depend entirely on one source, not because they're cynical, but because they understand probability. The world shifts constantly. Control belongs to those who can adapt without panic. Look at the people who crumble under pressure: one lost job, one breakup, one rejection, and their identity dissolves. They placed everything on one card: one paycheck, one relationship, one fragile version of self-worth. That's not loyalty, that's dependence dressed as commitment. The strong diversify, not only in finance, but in identity. They can survive losing something because they never let anything define them completely. They keep resources in reserve, skills that make them useful, networks that keep them connected, knowledge that keeps them irreplaceable. When one path closes, they pivot. When one door locks, they already have another key. Machiavelli observed that the wise man does at once what the fool does at last. Preparation is intelligence in motion. The one who builds options early negotiates from strength. The one who waits until disaster negotiates from fear. Imagine two people chasing the same opportunity. One has no alternative, they'll take whatever terms they're given. The other has backups, they can walk away if the deal's wrong. The difference? One is desperate, the other dangerous. That's what options create: detachment, leverage, calm. The same logic governs emotion. When you depend too much on one person, one plan, one outcome, you lose the ability to choose. But when you have options, loss becomes manageable. If someone betrays you, fine, you already have distance. If a path closes, frustrating, but not fatal. You remain in motion while others drown in attachment. Power isn't about domination, it's about endurance. The world rewards those who can stay unshaken while everything else falls apart. Comfort fades. Systems fail. But design endures, the kind built deliberately, layer by layer, through discipline and perception. The strong don't pray for stability, they build it. They turn uncertainty into leverage, fear into movement, chaos into control. And when the world changes, they don't break. They adapt, because their strength was never built on circumstance, it was built on design. If you're ready to build that kind of mind, go to the playlist Machiavelli on Power as Design. It's not motivation, it's strategy. Each video sharpens the architecture of your thinking until power stops being theory and becomes instinct. Watch it, absorb it, and start building yourself as deliberately as rulers once built empires. Because design is destiny, and yours begins now.